1/10 IC track racing is one of the newer classes in RC racing. It started life as a combination of smaller 1/8 scale cars and electric touring cars with engines fitted. Let's take a look in more detail. Obviously from the outside it looks very similar to an electric touring car, but once we take the body shell off and then look inside the car, it's very, very different, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure, because we have the engine there, we have 2 servos, we have a fuel tank and different suspensions that are designed for the foam tires and this kind of racing.
We've got the engine mounted fairly far back in the chassis and then a belt drive system driving both the front and the rear axles.
Yeah, that layout is actually exactly similar to an 8 scale.
There's a lot of similarities between the 1/10 and the 1/8 cars, aren't there?
Yeah, there are some several things which are quite much the same, but the big difference is that we use the diffs in the front and the rear. In 1/8 we use the solid axle in the rear and the one-way in the front. And in my opinion, this makes the 1/10 a little bit more difficult to set up as well.
So in many ways it is a scaled down 1/8 racer, but with gear diffs fitted just like the electric touring cars nowadays. Are there any other similarities between electric touring cars?
This is a difficult task, but to simply answer, it's the car. It has the 4 wheels, so it's very similar. No, the basic geometry is always the same. I mean, the knowledge that I have from the electric, because I focus mostly on the electric, I can transfer my knowledge into this category, and I see that it works as well. Equally it works is the geometry, like the camber effect, roll center, ride height, toe out, toe in. All these geometry changes are working equally in this category and in electric as well.
Now, all RC classes have springs and shock absorbers on them, and they're used as a tuning element. How does that apply to this 1/10 track class? Can you tell us about how you tune the shocks to suit the track conditions?
For the high grip conditions, we honestly go a little bit softer with the shock oil, because the traction roll problem gets better with softer shocks on our car. When the grip is not that high, we go a little bit more hard. Also the roll bar is quite much the same. It sounds a bit strange, because you think when you have a traction roll you must go harder with the suspension and also with the anti-roll bars, but it seems to be the opposite.
One bit that I don't understand is the 2-speed gearbox in the cars. We don't have those in electric racing. Is it complicated to set up?
This is pretty easy. I mean, many people are thinking that it's too complicated, but it's pretty easy. I mean, you need to have the knowledge, or at least to be able to watch the others when you see when the second gear comes, and then you can copy the same. In this corner, I can feel it's coming too early or too late, and then I can close or open. Also, the 2-speed is changing according to the engine setup. For example, if I have a 2-reach engine, the second gear comes too late. So first, I need to adjust that. I have to be sure that I have the engine on the right temperature, and then I can adjust the 2-speed according to my needs. Some drivers need more a little bit earlier, somebody later. It depends also on the driving style.
So it does sound fairly easy to set those 2-speed gearboxes up, but like with everything, there's endless tuning possibilities. Finally, the tyres. Now, they use foam tyres in 1/10 track racing, just like 8th and 1/12 electric racing as well. We've seen so much talk about tyres leading up to this event. Not only is it the compound of the tyres that makes a difference in 1/10 RC, but even the diameter of the tyres has a big effect on the handling, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, yesterday in the fast one, the rocket one, you couldn't go higher than 59 in the rear, which is really small. But you have to do it, otherwise you have traction roll, or you have to go slower, which nobody wants to do, of course.
Here is very, very difficult for us with the tire, because the track on its own has a huge traction, and with the additive, the complete compound of the tire and hardness is different than before without the additive.
And you change the compound of the tyres, the diameter of the tyres, and even the wheel stiffness as well.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is also very important. The main problem of this European Championship I see is the allowed or the additive, because it makes the car to handle it completely different. Before we could handle the car much easier, but now with the super high traction, we are traction rolling, and we have to think about also these problems. In the past it wasn't, but if you did that with additive, you are not able to be as fast as the others, so you have to use it. And now is the main goal to find the right setup with the tire diameter and tire hardness. It's a difficult task, but if you find the best one, then you are the winner, because but you have to be smart and think. If you see that your car traction roll, you need smaller diameter, but you cannot go too small because you have no top speed. You know, it's just a complete package, and it's up to the driver how smart he is, and he's able to find the right setup.
So 1/10 track racing isn't as complicated as I first thought. It's not just a scaled down 1/8 car, nor an electric touring car with a nitro engine fitted. It's a class all of its own. But like with every class of RC racing, it's all about the fine tuning.